Okay, it's been a while since my last video. I've quite a bit going on. Starting work on rebuilding this bench in the corner here. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. Let me first show you lots and lots of bits of wood. Some of it I already had, quite a bit of it quite new. The neighbour had some wood to spare, had some pallets they weren't using, which I spent a lot of time over the last few weeks taking apart and making sure I got all of the nails out of it. As you can see, I've got quite a lot of extra wood that I can now use. I'm going to recycle it. I do have quite a few of these large chunks of what look like chipboard, which were part of the structure of the pallets. They seem to be drying out quite well, so I'm going to hang on to them because I never know what I might be able to use them for. Okay, let's get down to the structure of this bench. You can see probably a big no-no normally, but I'm using the structure of the shade. I don't need this to be movable, so therefore I'm connecting to the wall where I can. And of course I've used some legs. I did actually buy that wood to make the legs with, just to make sure that it's kind of well supported. But you will note that I've put the skirts, I think you call them, on the outside of the legs. And when I get the top put onto this, as you will be seeing in a later video, you will notice that I've got the top of the bench and the top of this extension completely level. But with the skirt being on the outside, I've got this quite large section underneath the top, so I can use it for clamping, being as I don't have any vices. I am leaving a gap between that and the bench because I feel that that might be handy to be able to clamp a piece of wood across from one side to the other where they're level and use it for sawing. I think that could be quite useful and helpful. I've got quite a few other little pieces of wood down there that will all be used in the next few days. Over here, I'm going to put in a bench just there over that plastic bin, but the top of that will be level with the top of the saw, which is also perfectly level with the top of my old bench, which is also perfectly level with the new extension I'm putting in here. So eventually I will have one long section all the way down one side of the shed where I can put longer pieces of wood. Underneath here, underneath this bench, I also intend to put one, maybe two shelves for storing my old scrap pieces of wood, the smaller pieces. I'm thinking I may leave the back of that open so that longer pieces can stand there, although I have done quite a bit of work, he says with a laugh, on putting up these battens in the shed so I can store longer pieces of wood. The dark brown pieces you see here were also from the neighbour, and I'm going to recycle those and use those in some way in the future. Not sure what for yet, but a lot of wood all there to be recycled. So there we have your update for now. I will be in a few moments. It'll be quite a while before I do it, but you will see it in a few moments, the completion of this with its shelving added in and the wood stored back. Okay, here we can now see the area where I store all my scrap wood more up to date. As you can see, I've created storage shelves for all my loose wood on the short bits. The longer bits, as you know, go up the ceiling. And of course I've now got another worktop level with my original, much more working space. As I said before, the gap in between is so that I can clamp things down, being as I haven't got a vise, and still use my saw in between the benches. Okay, there we can see the pieces of the pallets that I got from the next door neighbour stored away much neater and tidier just now. Okay, and over on the bench we can see some of the pallet wood. In fact, it's all from the pallet, this wood, and this wood is going to make another extension to my bench. The top, it's down there, and this is going to go over this horrible plastic container thing that I still find very useful, so I'm going to build around it. And the new one will also be the same level as the top of my saw, my chop saw, and the top of the bench, so they'll all be level, full length across. Now, here's a bit of news. You probably remember I said I've only just recently started back doing woodwork. I spent all my working life sitting behind a desk in a nice warm office, or out in my car in a nice warm car. And the last couple of weeks in Dublin it has got very, very cold, and I'm afraid that I don't have heating in my workshop, so I'm now going to take a break until the weather gets a little bit warmer. I know, I'm a wimp, can't take the cold, but there we are, and I'll come back when the weather gets warmer, and I shall see you all then. Bye.